Moving forward with the bib quilting, I didn't like how thin the quilted pillows were on my other bib. So I'm gonna go a little crazy here with the batten. I've got, as you can see, I've got some a pretty thick piece here. I'm just gonna do some quick trimming, and then I think that's gonna turn around a bit better. I like the idea of a really puffy quilted pillow in there. I think it looks pretty sharp. I also think it looks pretty fun. So that's my idea. Of course, whatever it is that you want to do is certainly up to you. So I will get into it here. My previous idea of getting this really puffy with lots of batting failed. I had way too much pucker along the edges. I had no way of properly connecting the corners without there being a lot of mismatch. So I had to reduce the amount of batting and, you know, do some rolling out, feeling where the high points are, as I'm doing here right now. You know, taking the high points, filling in those low points, and, you know, getting that nice even feel to it. The one thing I wasn't very happy with on the previous bib was the lack of batting that was going up in this way. So I'm going to take some extra time and stuff some extra batting up here so that it looks fairly uniform, because it does get thinner up here as well. So I'm going to definitely try to do that. So we're going to do some repinning, and I think I've gotten enough of the batten out, and we should be able to carry on a little bit better. All right, bashing on. there we have it. It's all pinned up, nowhere near as bulky, and I've got 2 lines to tidy up here and here. I'll do that, and then we're going to go over to the machine. Got that 1/2 inch seam allowance at the bottom, have our first line of stitching here. I did a double back on it just to reinforce that line. All right, we're going to carry on. Moving forward with the build for the bib and bib facing piece B, I had some issues with being able to line up the directional lines for both bibs on either side. So what I did in this case, I did a little bit of a workaround, and as you can see, I've gone through and I've pinned this area all along the, I guess that would be the line that would be sitting on your stomach, the center point, and I took my ruler and I went along the first, essentially the quilted line on the left-hand side, and then drew that line all the way across to the right-hand side. I did take time to line up the bottom edges to make sure that those were even, or as even as I possibly could get them. So I think this is going to work out for me. Again, as I was reading in the instructions from Bad Wolf Costumes, you need to be very careful with this alignment, or you're going to end up with a front of your jacket that's going to essentially look offset for each of these quilted pillows. I hope that gives you some help. I hope that this workaround is certainly going to work for me, and we will move forward to see if it actually does. Welcome back. Carrying on, we're now going to sew the quilted bib portion onto the main front. I've got this lined up, and we're going to do some pinning first, and once again I'm really going to try hard to line up this quilt line here and have that go directly in line with this seam over here. I did that really well on that one piece that I was able to do, and now I'm also going to carry on with the rest of it. Pinning's all done. Now we're going to move over to the machine. The next part of the build calls for the lower bib panel piece. Now, because I'm not using any interfacing layers, the bib panel and the bib panel facing are going to be very flimsy. So in this case, I took some time and I made a little pillow, and that little pillow is filled with some batten. This is where the AccuFeed foot's really going to come into play, especially when I've got this kind of bulky material. So what's going to happen is I am going to take along the bib panel, and I'm going to do the 1/2 inch seam allowance here, and I'm only going to run it right up to here because this does fold over, but that's later on down the line. There we are. We now have that lovely little pillow at the bottom. Again, just put my own little touch in there with some quilting. Everything's tidied up. Again, the seam here is in line. I'm very happy with that. Again, the 5/8 of an inch going down here. Very happy with that. That meets up here. And then we tidy this edge up at the end from what the instructions tell me. Okay, we're going to move on.